Session 208, Deleted Portion. Now, I have had several matters to discuss with you. Our sessions in general, the matter of spontaneity and discipline, your own fears, rather natural enough, concerning any subconscious effect I might have on Ruber. These are rather important matters that should be discussed. The question concerning the broken dishes rather amused me personally. There are then the separate questions concerning your health, Joseph and Ruber's. Now I realize that you obviously are mainly concerned with the annoying physical symptoms. And since we cannot cover everything, I suggest that we discuss these points first. I would not like the matter of the sessions in general, and the subconscious influence question, to go by the board however, and in one way or another we must find time for those matters. I will now ordinarily pick up any dangerous warning signals concerning your health or Ruber's, but it is still a good idea to query me now and then directly. I would suggest perhaps a session or part of a session, perhaps once a month, to be directed along these lines. Under most circumstances, the tail end of a session such as this will do well. Now, on your part, we will use the word envy rather than jealousy. There is a difference. This had to do with your friend, Jasper, and an excellent friend he is indeed. You are itching to have what he has, quite literally. This should be clearly understood, for envy is a potentially dangerous emotion. There is a difference between wanting more, which is legitimate, and envying those who have more. For in such cases, you harm not only yourself, but those whom you envy. A simple and weak source solution will help clear up the physical symptoms applied twice daily. A serious and humble consideration of the man's problems, which are very difficult indeed, should help clear up the envy. Rob said yes. For upon his shoulders rests the burden of what he owns, and he fears with a steady, nearly unending panic that he will not be able to keep this. Through ill health, the panic is wild and like a storm. Basically, you do not consider the turns. You do not realize that he has long ago made a bargain to give his family those things which he feels will content them, only to find them less content. For to deliver these things he must, because of his nature, deprive them of other more important considerations. You would feel twice as trapped in his circumstances. He wants to share with you what he has, and in your visits, to which he and his wife look forward, in your acceptance of his hospitality and food and drink, he hopes for some justification. There is an affinity between you. He likes to think that under different circumstances he could live as you live. The need for money literally strangles him. He wants to help you rather normally, because he feels rather illogically but understandably that in helping you he helps a part of himself. For there is an isolated characteristic in him, and a completely undeveloped talent, though not in painting. There is little need for you to each to have what he has. Because of your past existence as a landowner, you particularly are resentful of those who own land. This was one of my main reasons for suggesting strongly that you buy the specific property a while back. Such a procedure would have satisfied a strong demand of your nature, but it would not have isolated you to an unhealthy degree, since it was close by. Acres were hardly involved. Nevertheless, any reasonable plot of land would have satisfied this to a reasonable and realistic degree. You cannot afford to satisfy it at this point to a large degree, and in any case, your desire for land would have to be completely allowed to dominate all other considerations to be completely satisfied. Now, to make you feel better, had you bought the house, you would have been exactly as well off now as you are, no more and no less. Rupert's book would still have been written. He would not have had to stay at the gallery but 2 months longer. That is all of the land. Now, the envy applied to your friend should be easily dissipated, since you understand it. Envy by itself, however, is something else again. I want to tell you how to handle this positively, for it can work for you. There is nothing wrong and much beneficial in strongly imagining yourself as the possessor of property. To imagine yourself enviously as the owner of another man's property is harmful. To suggest vividly that you will find property that you will like and can afford will help you attain it. I do not know how tired you are. Now or later, we can discuss your hand. Rob said, "Go ahead." Seth said, "First of all this is connected with the question of discipline and the spontaneity of sessions, for I could have spoken at any time." Rob said, "I thought you could have." It may appear that Rupert is too easy or too willing to hold sessions. However, his ego is very well in control, so well in control that on occasion when I would have spoken on these very matters, I have not been allowed to do so. Of course, I realize the time limitations and others. Now, as briefly as possible, the hand was connected with the envy, and also with the difficulty involving the penis. This is somewhat complicated. The envy caused you to be angry at the hand, which was not bringing you the financial results that envy required. Therefore, you punished the hand. Subconsciously, your reasoning went like this. If I were any shape of a man, the hand would bring me what I wanted. And translating this into literal terms, you change the shape of the penis. You did not incapacitate the penis or the hand, you see? You did not after all blame yourself that much. Seth amused. I laughed. Rupert, incidentally, simply because of his nature and through no design, was of benefit to you here, since he never commented on the penis in an adverse manner. Rob said, "I knew that." Seth said, "Now, the symptoms would vary at times. You also felt that in order to satisfy envy, you would have to change yourself from your direct course to a crooked course. Here again, the shape of the penis." The hand faltered out of for two reasons. You faltered in your purpose subconsciously, so the hand was allowed to falter. You were not steady on your course, and the hand faltered. Yet because you are an artist above all, you also punished yourself for your envy with the faltering hand, so that the hand is pressed to knees. Rob asked, "Why was my hand better last week?" Seth said, "Now, lately the hand has improved, because the envy itself was given direct expression through the itch. The itch therefore became the punishment for the envy that it expressed. This was a more direct, less involved, less frightening symptom, a localization, in other words. The envy being realized subconsciously for what it was, isolated in such a manner, meant that the hand need no longer falter. Since we are bringing all of this into the open, the symptoms should begin to disappear quickly. We have something else here, however, to say concerning the penis, which is very amusing under the circumstances, and not simple. On the one hand, you are pleased, because Robert does not demand a large amount of physical goods in usual terms. On the other hand, you have the hilarious suspicion, when you are envious of others, that if he wanted more, you would get more for him. You could blame him, and therefore have your cake and eat it too, so that the penis difficulty is also aimed in his direction, rather literally. It is also so aimed in another manner. For when you are envious, you become angry at yourself, but also angry at him. For you cannot help thinking that if he worked harder, if he did something of what you are not certain, then he would make more money, and you could still have what envy demands. So here again the penis difficulty, for he sat home full-time writing, while you work part-time, and yet he has not made all that money. One more thing here, a connection with your mother, in that you feel that she never considered your father a true straight man because he did not do well financially. The manipulations here should be obvious, and they result again in the shape of the penis. All of these difficulties are not organically serious. Functionally, they certainly are not beneficial, however, and they should now begin to better themselves. Much of this has already been worked out by your own subconscious, and with this session, the situation should quickly begin to show signs of improvement. The penis difficulty may last longer, for it is more involved, but it is in no way dangerous to you, and left alone, it will disappear. I will leave you to tell me when you need a break, or when you want the session terminated. Now as to Robert's health. One session is not enough here. For the interconnections that exist between the two of you, several sessions will give you an excellent basis for understanding yourselves in relationship to one another. I do not know where to begin. The back problem was particularly easy for Robert to pick up, because of his mother and the arthritis, and because of his father Ryan, whose back was injured. He constantly picks up and reacts to your moods, subconscious as well conscious, interprets them, and translates into physical realities. Because of your psychic closeness and his strong telepathic abilities. I am sparing no one here, incidentally, for your benefit. He is prone to criticism, that is, he is prone to being criticized. He picked up the feeling that although you wanted him home writing, you were also envious and resentful, yet he loves you. He felt you were being stiff-necked and identified here. He adopted the stiff-necked symptom, which has been with him off and on. He also felt guilty, however, at being taken care of, for the stiff neck was also therefore a punishment. He feared he was being taken care of as his mother was, and that you must resent it symbolically. As he resented it, taking care of her, and therefore the bad difficulty. For the bad reinforced the mother image for him. There is much more here, and we will cover what we can and fill in when we can. The poor eyesight and the sinus are both, on a much limited scale, adaptations of his mother's more frightening and more successful efforts to close out portions of reality. The sinus is made worse by heat, because at home he always wanted to open the windows and escape, and could not. You should, whenever you move again, have all rooms with more than one window if at all possible, for this also has a connection with the thyroid. The need to escape is now latent only, but windows symbolize the way to escape, and the closed places frighten him. This station may help, but the mechanisms are so involved that it will be a while, even with my help, before this need for spaciousness, comparatively speaking, leaves him. I am suggesting Joseph nothing, however, as far as sleep is concerned alone. He would sleep best in the back room or the front room, neither of which I believe is practically at this point. In any case, this is not activated on all occasions by any means. Now, the pressure has also several origins. One, along with the recent irregular periods, is fairly obvious. His book is to be published, and since he is a female, the book is his baby. It will not be complete born until it hits the light of day. We have then pressure pains, extended abdomen, and irregular periods. This is not all, however, and I do not spare him. He feels that your eyes are upon him to see that he puts in a full working day, and he feels that he must because you do. Without your help, he feels guilty, staying home. His nature is strongly intuitive and spontaneous. It needed discipline, and you helped here to a truly astounding degree. Now, however, he feels under pressure, hence the pressure again in the abdomen, again connected with his work. For he feels that he must be at the typewriter 5 or 6 hours steadily daily, or he is not keeping up his part of the bargain. Now he would produce as much, if not more, and of better quality, were he not so serious in this respect. For after a certain point of discipline is reached, he will operate well and effectively. But ideas will come to him in a better fashion if he allows part of the day to spontaneous thinking. He sums ideas up in a spontaneous matter, and when it seems that he plays even to him, he is working. This feeling was heightened after a discussion in particular that you held in your room, and this is connected with your relationship. because he left his mother when he was sick of taking care of her. His reality, once captured as you have captured it, is unbelievable enduring. But he is never sure basically of the reality of someone who supports him, which is regrettable. On the other hand, this fear works for him, because he works harder as a writer to pay you back. So it is not entirely negative or destructive, but partially channeled in a constructive fashion. Your own background is important here, and he picked up your past feelings, you see. You truly have no respect for your mother. In one instance that your father supported her, and she pushed him. There is a connection here with Rupert's insistence on spending a part of his money on the apartment tangibly, where you could see it and be reminded that he helped out. At the same time, it makes you slightly angry, for you feel two things. One, that it is little enough, and two, because of your own envy of others who have more, that perhaps Rupert means that you should have bought these things, while he means nothing of the sort. The pressure, I am sorry to say, has also some connection with our sessions, in that he feels caught betwixt and between, somewhat under pressure to hold sessions regularly, although he may not feel like particularly doing so, and under pressure not to hold sessions when he may feel particularly like doing so. This in relation to the abdomen. He feels more pressure to hold sessions now regularly because of our doctor, and more pressure not to hold sessions when he feels the urge to, because of your own fears, that is, your fears and his fears. This I intend to clarify now. Rupert is bearing up well this evening. With my help, I can clarify further here on his health after a break, or you may end the session. Rob said, I guess we'll end it then. Seth said, I will then wish you my best and heartiest regards.